Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Hello. What is up, family? Hunter Klein bringing you this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys, episode number 65. 65 straight weeks. You know the deal. We've been going through a rut. We've been at a low. We've been distracted. We've been putting less energy into the podcast than we should. And I'm not proud about it. All right, I'm not happy about it. I'm disappointed. But the necessary sacrifices to make strides in life, guys, it paid off. We did it, family. We did it. The CSCS exam has been passed. Friday evening or Friday morning. A 4.5 hour time commitment. 4.5 hour test. We made it out alive. And at the end of that test, guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did not want to look at the results because I was scared. The guy handed me the papers. The two separate sheets indicating my score, pass or fail, on both sections of the exam. Honestly, I didn't look as soon as he handed it to me. I intentionally hid the results from myself as I walked out of the building. And about 20 yards from my car, I slowly peeked nervously at those results, and oh my God, was I so damn surprised. The test was the hardest test I've ever taken in my life. I've taken many finals. I was a very successful undergraduate student. I've taken many finals at the graduate level. I've been a successful graduate student. I've taken the GRE, the graduate research exam. Okay, and this was the hardest test by far that I have ever taken in my life. Again, 4 hours long, guys. 2 hours in, I was destroyed mentally. When I say destroyed mentally, I mean I was thinking about when I was gonna have to retake the test and how I was gonna study the next time. Now, luckily, my knowledge did prevail, and I did a little better than I assumed. Some of the test-taking skills I applied were a little more effective than I think I assumed again, but it went well. And here's the interesting thing about this process. Okay. And that is, if you go back and watch these shorter, or listen to these shorter episodes, listen or watch these shorter episodes leading up to episode 65, 64, 63, they're short. I'm obviously distracted, obviously not putting a lot of time into the pod because I am a little bit overwhelmed. But one thing that is also interesting is that I never really talked about the test, the severity, and how serious it was. And to be quite honest with you guys, that is because I didn't realize how serious this test was, how demanding it was, and how much of a challenge it is for a majority of the people that take it. Okay. Straight up, I downplayed the test. I didn't talk too much about the challenge or the preparation. I was studying every day for multiple hours, but that was just because I wanted to cover, all the bases. Not because I realized that this is one of the more difficult tests you can take when it comes to certifications in any field. And I also had no idea it was so respected, guys. It was so respected. And here's what I mean by this. I'm sitting in a meeting with my advisor the evening of. All right. I took the test Friday morning at around 9 a.m. Got out of the test around 12:45. Okay. And in that evening, I had a meeting with my advisor about my thesis, and I sat down and say, by the way, I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I got my CSCS. And he's like, oh, yeah, you got your USAW weightlifting certification. I think you told me about that. It's like, no. I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I passed the CSCS exam this morning. And I'm kind of very casual about it because I'm in my own bubble in regards to the test. Haven't really explored much about how challenging it is, how many times. I don't even know what the pass fail percentage is on the test. But he presumes to freak out. You know, this is a big deal. He's like, this is a big deal, Hunter. And before you know it, I am posting things on Instagram. I'm getting contacted by 5-10 people who have failed the test multiple times, who are in my professional field, in strength and conditioning, looking for tips on the test, looking for, my strategy of studying. And it's just kind of mind-blowing to me, right? Because I just read the book start to finish, jotted down some notes, and found some random flashcard website that I subscribed to him for a month to study. I had no idea it was this respected, and I had no idea that test was going to be that difficult, guys. So, bottom line, I'm fucking proud of myself. I really am. It's very surreal to me. I find myself waking up every morning like, damn, we did it. We are as qualified as anybody in the field. I can realistically apply for the strength and conditioning coach position for the Arizona Cardinals professional football team. I can realistically do that. It's just nuts to me. And one of the most interesting things about this, guys, obviously I was aware of some type of weight on my shoulders in regards to the test. You could see it in the effort I was putting into the podcast. You could see it into my thought process around these last couple weeks when you go back and watch previous episodes. But where it really became obvious to me, guys, is when I woke up Saturday morning, and I don't know how to describe it. Imagine that you have an enormous problem in your life, and it is weighing on your shoulders. And every morning you wake, maybe without you even knowing, it is the first thing you think of, and it brings some stress, some pressure into your life. Every morning for months and months, I have to study for this exam this morning. I have to deal with this huge problem every morning. When I woke up Saturday morning, it was so nuts, guys, and I hope I can describe this very accurately and color this picture for you. My brain searched for that again. It was like, what? We're supposed to be really anxious right now. We're supposed to be running to our computer. And in that moment, I realized I passed the exam. There's nothing there. And the feeling, guys, legitimate dopamine release in my brain was so amazing. It literally felt like someone had taken a 200-pound barbell off my back. It felt so good. I cannot describe it. And in that moment, I realized how much of a weight this really was on me. How much I was constantly thinking about this. And it's no wonder. Right? In hindsight, I was studying my ass off, working my ass off, doing a lot of stuff. So bottom line, guys, it just feels so damn good. Okay, I'm a certified meathead, a certified strength and conditioning specialist. What does that mean? That means I can go to any sports organization in the world, Arizona Cardinals. I can go to the NFL, the NBA, the NCAA, and pretty much head man the workout program. Right? The goal of a strength and conditioning professional is to maximize athleticism and push the human body to the absolute peak of what is capable in regards to performance, athleticism, and make sure that every single ounce of that body, every single ounce of their muscle, these athletes, is optimized for the sport they are playing. This means taking into consideration the energy that is used. How long are the movements in this sport? What kind of movements are they doing in this sport? Right? Movement analysis. All right. What are soccer players doing? All right. They're kicking a lot. They're running a lot. All right. What does that tell us about the program that we need to sign for them? Aerobic training, making sure that they can run long distances, making sure they have good lower body strength to propel the ball, making sure they have good control, they have power, right? So this is really all that happens right? Just really, if I had to boil it down in the simplest term as possible, it's taking a human body and absolutely pushing it to the peak of performance. And the beautiful thing about this, guys, is that I already do this in my personal life. All right. And I would even go as far as to say that my involvement in in exercise and nutritional sciences. So a lot of my motivation behind getting this certificate of strength and conditioning is that I can point this skill set, this pool of knowledge in a very selfish direction, right? I already do everything I study, or I use everything I study because I am absolutely obsessed, for whatever reason, to push my body to the absolute limits and max out my potential and live as long as possible. All right, that's why the way I eat could be considered by many as a eating disorder. Measuring everything, over meticulous, avoiding certain situations that might put my diet at risk. Okay. This is why every single time I lift, I am on the clock. All right. If you saw me in the weight room, you'd probably safely assume that I have some form of serious OCD. Right. My point in all of this is the skill set isn't only because I like working with athletes or I like, being involved with sports teams or meeting really skilled, well-known people. No, the major foundation of my interest in this field is because I can apply it to myself. It has validity in my life. And that's the most beautiful thing. Everything I learn that I can use to help improve other people's lives, other athletes' lives, is also applicable to my own life, my own health, and my own sense of, self-worth and self-esteem. And I think that's absolutely beautiful, family. I think that is goddamn beautiful. Okay. An interesting question that I ran into the week of the exam, at the peak of nervousness, at the peak of self-questioning, and am I doing enough? And is this going to work out? Is, am I doing my best? Now, here's the problem with this question. Number one, okay. When does it stop? Okay. When does it stop? And what I mean by that is this. Okay. I found myself walking in my garage Thursday night, right before the test, peak anxiety, peak self-questioning. And I am not kidding you. This happened verbatim. I asked myself in my head, am I doing my best? In default, immediately, I say yes. Yeah, you're doing your best. And I sat there in a moment of self-questioning, as I do with almost everything I do, and realized that I was bullshitting myself. I'm talking to myself in my head. I am a fucking psychotic person. Borderline mania, but that's okay. And I call myself in my bullshit out in real time and say, are you really doing your best? What about those 3 hours of Netflix you watched last night when you could have been studying for the exam? What about the 3 hours Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning you wasted for leisure because you didn't feel up to the challenge yet? And here is where this problem arises. When is enough enough? When is it too much? My problem is, okay, comparing myself to other people my age, my peers, the people around me, I'm doing very well. Okay. By standards of average and by comparison, I am fine and I should stop right here and I should just keep going on my path. But that's not good enough. That's not the way my brain works. Okay. I find myself being so critical because I'm just maybe too honest or maybe too real with myself. The problem is that my brain doesn't want me to have any downtime. My brain doesn't want me to have any leisure. My brain wants me to use every minute of my time maximally to progress me towards my goals. And anything less of a workaholic, complete moving forward mindset, no leisure, I don't want to say no joy because I enjoy what I do, but no leisure, no downtime, no relaxation. Anything less of that is considered half-assed. So my problem is I can't honestly ask myself, am I doing my best? Are you doing your best, Hunter? I can't honestly ask myself that because I don't work 16 hours straight with no break only to eat food in between. I waste 2 hours in the morning. I waste 3 hours in the evening watching some Netflix show or watching some stream on Twitch. Now, is that a problem? I don't think so. I think the problem is this. I think a lot of people are on the other side of the spectrum here. I think a lot of people really don't put that much effort into their days, into their lives, right? And when the question comes up, am I doing my best, like I did in that garage downstairs Thursday night before my exam, we say yes. We say yes because it makes us feel better about ourselves. It makes us feel more comfortable with the life they're living. It makes us question ourselves less. It gives us a little comfort. And I think what we're missing a lot of the times is that what happened to me after I answered very quickly in a default manner, yes. We lack that questioning afterwards, that realism afterwards to say, are we really? Are we really? Now, again, my problem is I take it too far. My brain takes it so far to the point where any moment of leisure, joy, relaxation is criticized by my internal self. I find myself thinking, all right, we could be making calls. We could be trying to make connections. We could be looking for jobs. Right? We could be missing on opportunities. I have an extreme FOMO, fear of missing out for potentials in progression in my life. Okay. But I think that's much less common than the opposite side of this, or the other side of the sword, and that being people that are maybe trying a little bit, half-assing, maybe giving like 60, 70%, but without a question, without a doubt, when they get asked the question, or when they ask themselves the question, am I doing my best? They say yes and don't go any further. Right? They don't go any further because it's comfortable. Right? It's easy. It puts us at ease. Right? And I'm just not about that. So what do we take out of this? I think realistically, asking yourself, am I doing my best? And more likely than not, the answer will be no. I think based on this conversation, and I'm kind of, dots are being connected as I speak. I think the best is unrealistic. Doing your absolute best for a goal is unrealistic. Unless you really, really want it. Unless you're willing to sacrifice everything. Personal life, social life, leisure, the little things. It's unrealistic. Because in order to give your best, you need to wake up out of bed, fucking sprint to wherever you need to go, and start grinding until you can't walk anymore. Right? I think we can all agree that is the definition of your absolute best. Now, are we doing our best? Probably not. How much is enough? If you really want something, how close are you willing to get to your best for a sustained period of time so you can honestly say, after your attempt at achieving your goal, whether you got there or not, or whether you're on your way, I did enough. And I think that's really the threshold that matters here. What is good enough for you? A lot of us really can't hit our best, right? Doing our best, doing my absolute best is only relevant, is only applicable to a very, 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 very small percentage of workaholics and people who are just fucking mad crazy for their goals. But for the rest of us, where is that threshold? because I think the determination of that threshold of what is good enough is really the depicting factor in what your life is going to look like and how you feel about yourself and what your life looks like currently. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Very interesting. As my life turns, guys, as I end this page of my life, this 6-year journey of education and working till 10 p.m. in the evening, writing papers, going to class, I'm in a state of reflection. I'm excited to start a life to become an adult, to enter into a stable job, right? A 9 to 5, if you would say. Stable income, actual money behind me, not living off a stipend. And it's crazy that I'm in this position and I'm so calm and excited about it. And the reason is because 2 years ago, my goals, my aspirations, where I wanted to be were drastically different. And the last week or so has been an insane reflection period for me about how my goals, my aspirations, and what I really care about in this world have changed. Okay. And I think the beautiful thing about this is that this is all recorded, right? I am confident that by brushing through the 65 weeks of IP Monkeys episodes, you can see or hear life slowly chipping away at me through developing perspectives, right? We battled with the admittance of luck, the role of luck and success. It beat us up for a couple weeks. We battled with the infatuation of materials and the want for visual wealth, and me being at the bottom of the totem pole here in Scottsdale, and it beat me up. There's a good couple weeks where every single fucking time I drove by a Mercedes, I was just thinking about how shitty my car was. And these experiences, right? These battles I had, all of this, just life beating me down, chipping away at me, has created a completely different person at the end of these 2 years. And how do I, at a very baseline level, my values have flipped on their head. My aspirations for the future have dramatically shifted, guys. I used to want grandeur. 2 years ago, I had wild dreams. I had crazy dreams that I was going to be a huge, successful model, and I was going to have a huge podcast by the time graduate school was over. And I was going to, I had such large and extravagant dreams. And unfortunately or fortunately, the reality of the real world beat me down week by week, okay? And I don't think that's a negative thing, right? Because my dreams have now shifted from these dramatic, extravagant wants and aspirations to feed my ego to they've created a much more simple man. I don't need much now. Don't get me wrong, I have aspirations for the podcast, but it's long term, right? I don't look for short term reward that much anymore. I am patient. I have gained some sort of patience, right? I'm not exactly where I want to be, but the beat down that life has given me these last 2 years, the beat down that life gives you in your early adulthood, has taught me to be patient. Okay. And has created a very simple man that doesn't need much, that is actually seriously considering starting a life, starting a family, finding a woman. I'm thinking about where I want to establish myself and grow a family, which city, what education systems do I want to raise my child in? Right? These kind of questions are becoming more and more prevalent in my mind as I grow and as life chips away at me. It's very, very interesting, guys. I've been humbled. I've been humbled. Again, I don't want this to come off as negative or as, he's giving up on his dreams. No, I still believe I can have a very successful podcast in the next 10, 15 years. I still believe I can be the best strength and conditioning coach in the United States. But it's a long-term thing, and I'm not counting on anything. I'm just going with the flow and trying to value the little things. All right. Trying to value the little things. And, find a community. Laugh more. Smile more. Have more in-depth talks with close ones and loved ones. And, it's just been insane. It's been insane. I think the most interesting part about this is that, I could reference specific episodes in the last 3, 4, 5 months where you can visually see and audibly hear my very, very ambitious goals and extravagant dreams get knocked down. You can see me in real time get doses of reality and battle with it and struggle with the reality and how I need to shift. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm happy with where we're at. And I'm glad we are going through that. It's an interesting time. It's an interesting time, guys. I'm at a point in my life where the possibilities are endless. Luckily, or unluckily, I've been so focused on work and my goals and my aspirations that I have not really created much of a community around me. I don't have any relationships. I am completely and utterly untethered, unchained, floating by myself in the wind. And as a result, the possibilities of life right now are endless. Where do I want to move? What do I want to do? How do I want to live? Are all things that, the possibilities are literally endless. When I go home here in about 2 weeks, start applying for jobs around the country, start exploring the potentials of my future, it's going to be an exciting time, guys. It's going to be a really exciting time. The future is very fruitful right now. And the freedom I feel is something that is very stressful and anxiety driving right now in the moment. But I think in the bigger picture, it's a very beautiful and exciting time to be alive in my life that I will never forget. Now, it's hard to realize that in the moment with all the stress and all the pressure, right? And all the need to start getting income. But I think at the end of the day, it's very beautiful. I think it's very beautiful. And goddamn, guys, do I want to make it back to Arizona? I am going to work my ass off to get back down here because the sun and the women are addictive. Straight up. I'll be honest with you guys. The sun and the women are addictive. The most beautiful women you've ever seen in your life. And that sun, there is something about laying out in the sun here. It makes you feel almost, like very tired after. Like you just got done with a large workout. Or you just got done with a hard day of work. That feeling that you're kind of drained a little bit, right? It's almost as if your worries, your problems, your anxiety has been sapped out of you, right? So much of your energy is left that you only have enough to allocate to the important things. I've become addicted to it, guys. I've become addicted to the outdoor gyms, the beautiful weather. And it's interesting. It's absolutely interesting. Guys, if you want to call in, if you want to get involved with the podcast, the hotline for IP Monkeys is 602-892-4371. Call in, get involved. I float around from topic to topic so much, guys. One week we're talking about how weird young adults are when it comes to mating and finding relationships. One week I'm talking about spaceships launching into the universe. One week I'm talking about taking a random test, nutrition and strength. There's no bounds. There's no walls. There's no box that you need to fit in to call into the podcast and share some opinions or thoughts. Please do if you're on the fence. I really, really enjoy it, and I want to hear who's listening, and I want to hear what you guys want to talk about and what's valuable to you. All right, I want to bring value to the listeners, to the watchers, and yeah, it's awesome. Right, I want to hear new ideas. If you guys can't tell, or one big hindrance to podcasts like this is obviously as long as I'm doing solo episodes, and I do hope to bring guests on in the future. Once we get a little more established, we got a little more oomph behind the project and our name. One of the problems with just being solo is that we do get caught in somewhat of an echo chamber, right? We are limited to our perspectives and our creativity and our ability to think outside our own box. So having people get involved and share some new ideas from new perspectives through new lenses is very awesome to me. And I think that'd be valuable for the community. All right. Once again, the IP Monkeys phone number is 602-892-4371. Call in, get involved. We'll play it back on the podcast. We will not talk live on air. You will be directed to a voicemail where I will play this back on the episode and react during the process of recording. Alrighty. What else is going on in the world, guys? The Tokyo Olympics are on, but without any out-of-country visitors. All right. Now, it's very awesome to hear that the Olympics are still going, that they are not canceling this. It is unfortunate that there are no out-of-country visitors, but I mean, this isn't really too surprising, right? It's important to realize the sheer amount of people that actually compete in the Olympics. Right? To handle that with proper COVID regulations alone is a fucking mountain to climb, friends. Is a mountain to climb. I'm going to assume around 1,000 athletes, 1,000 people. Along with that, throwing in out-of-country viewers, people flying in, is just not the best move. So the fact that the Olympics are even holding this right now, that Tokyo is still doing this, is incredible. And it's going to be a lot of fucking work. Because the Olympics, when the Olympics is established, it's like a small town in itself. So for them to go ahead and do that with the proper qualifications, with everything that's needed, is an absolute victory for athletics everywhere, guys. An absolute victory for athletics everywhere. I'm gonna pull up some news here, just see what's going on, see if there's anything worth talking about. Vaccines are rolling out. The madness, the news is insane. I'm not going to cover it because I'm not really interested in following step by step. Oh, this vaccine's getting pulled. This vaccine's going to have some issues. This vaccine, so on and so forth. Apparently, Elon Musk is getting a lot of flack for his wealth, guys. Now, I know I come off as a huge Elon Musk fanboy. Okay. But here is the major reason. Like him or hate him, I don't know Elon Musk. I don't know if he's a good guy. I don't know a lot about him, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's an absolute saint. But, guys, it is of utmost importance to realize, and this is the reason why I value Elon Musk, is because his goals, all right, getting humans interplanetary, getting humans on the other planets, and increased pressure on sustainable energy are, I believe, and I think every human should share the same scope, that these two, sustainable energy and interplanetary establishment of the human species, are the two most important goals for our species right now, long term. Okay, now I'm not saying that abolishing racism is not important, or, getting rid of hate crimes is not important. But these are very short term. These are things that I believe will be cleared up in 100, 200 years. Long-term goals for our species. We will die if we do not become or get rid of this reliance on deplenishing resources. Okay? We need sustainable energy, and we need to get on some other planets before a gigantic meteor comes and absolutely demolishes the mode of dust we're on right now. Okay? That is why I value Elon Musk so much. And when politics get involved, he gets really harped on for his image and how he is the face of his company all the time and all of his wealth. But in my opinion, when we talk about wealthy people who have more money than the entire bottom 40% of the species, at least the world's richest man, the largest chunk of money in regards to one human holding it is in the hands of a human who cares about the long-term future of our species. Okay? And I think that needs to be appreciated more. Okay? Yeah, maybe he's not the best. Maybe you cringe at how he talks or the way he's dramatic or the way people worship him or the way he presents on his Cybertruck. I don't think that matters at all, guys. I think those people are just hate watchers looking for something to hold on to. I think realizing the value in his perspective and how important that is for the human species should be enough for you to be like, all right, I might not like you, but your goals are awesome. You're doing some good stuff for us. Okay. All right, guys, enough of that spiel. What else is going on, guys? Joe Rogan faces accusations of transphobia after latest interview. What's new, guys? What's new? If you talk long enough on a podcast for years and years and thousands of hours, people are going to find stuff to destroy you on. Hopefully that day doesn't come from me, or actually, hopefully it does, right? Because if people are criticizing what I say, that means attention is on me. And maybe we're making a living off of this project. All right? So who fucking knows? Who fucking knows, guys? All right. Alrighty. I think we're going to end it there, guys. I'm not going to go through any more of this. The news has been interesting recently. Here's my problem. I think that I just have a very select range of news stories that actually interest me or get me going. Now, are we going to try to broaden that interest so we can make the podcast a little more interesting? Sure. All right. But who knows, guys? Who knows? I care about what I care about. Maybe that'll change as we grow. But for now, the only things I really care about are nutrition, health, and space travel and sustainable energy for humans. And yeah, that's really about it. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We've been in a down streak in the podcast. I'm glad we could pick things back up this week. I was excited to get on to celebrate with you guys. Thank you for being here. If you're still listening, you're supporting one of my greatest passions. A passion that I have done for 65 weeks straight, and a passion that I plan on doing for many, many years to come. All right? Be good to yourselves, guys. If you're in a low, battle through. And if you're on a high, enjoy it. The duality of life, friends, it is a bitch, but it also brings beauty to this wonderful experience we call the human being. Fuck. No, that wasn't good. But it ultimately brings joy to this life we call the human experience. We'll stick with it. All right. That's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. This is Hunter Klein, and I'll see you next week. Peace.